Britain's development minister, Anneliese Dodds, has resigned over Keir Starmer's decision to cut the international development budget by over 40%. Dodds is a longtime loyal Starmer ally, and she was informed less than 24 hours before that her entire ministry would have their budget slashed and burned. Keir Starmer's move to defund international aid and move that funding into the Ministry of Defense has been widely criticized, not by just those in international development, but also security officials who repeatedly warned Keir Starmer against doing this, stating that international aid is what de-escalates and prevents conflicts from arising in the first place. By taking money out of international aid, you actually destabilize the world, meaning that you might need to use military resources in the future. It is much better to avoid the conflict existing in the first place, and especially coming right off Donald Trump cutting out most of the funding for the world's international development with his defunding of USAID, it is even more important that every other country steps up to fill the gap, as Trump's cuts have already cost lives around the world where medical treatment and aid and food is not being delivered anymore. Let's keep in mind, Dodds is not against increased defense spending. She just thinks that you should be raising taxes or borrowing to achieve it, not taking the budget out of other parts of the government. Let's listen to her letter. Undoubtedly, the post-war global order has come crashing down. I believe that we must increase spending on defense as a result, and know that there are no easy paths to do so. I stood ready to work with you to deliver the increased spending, knowing that some might well have come from ODA. I also expected we would collectively discuss our fiscal rules and our approach to taxation as other nations are doing. Even 3% may only be the start, and it will be impossible to raise substantial resources needed just through tactical cuts to public spending. These are unprecedented times when strategic decisions for the sake of our country's security cannot be ducked. Instead, the tactical decision was taken for the ODA to absorb the entire burden. You have maintained that you want to continue support for Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine, for vaccination, for climate, and for rules-based systems. Yet it will be impossible to maintain these priorities given the depth of the cut. The effect will be far greater than presented, even if assumptions made about reducing asylum costs hold true. The cuts will also likely lead to a UK pullout from numerous African, Caribbean, and Western Balkan countries. At a time when Russia has been aggressively increasing its global presence, it would likely lead to withdrawal from regional banks and a reduced commitment to the World Bank, the UK being shut out of numerous multilateral bodies, and a reduced voice for the UK in the G7, the G20, and in climate negotiations. Ultimately, these cuts will remove food and healthcare from desperate people. The resignation of Anneliese Dodds reminds us again that Keir Starmer cannot keep dodging basic responsibilities and has to make decisions because he's a world leader. Things won't just happen because he wants them to. Now please do some engagement or else nobody's gonna see and I won't get paid. Thank you.